this and that, episode 70, the number are climbing. In this one, I'm going to talk about the pestilence and some things about the Donbass and mostly about the energy and EU. The days of cold and darkness is speeding towards Europe, and it would appear to me as if the citizens in Europe is not really fully aware of what is lying ahead. Here and there you can see there is now voices coming up and voices of sanity that are beginning to hit the mainstream, but it's still a small minority. The rest of the European citizens are blindly speeding ahead with Ursula von der Crazy at the wheel. It doesn't spell good things for Europe. But let's start with the pestilence. And once again, due to many reasons, I can't read everything as it is, so you'll have to use your imagination. Doctors claim that 50% of the children who suffer from that heart thing due to that snake bite will be gone in 5 years. Now you can read the rest there. This is ugly information. And unfortunately, a vast proportion of the sheeple is in denial about it. But this is a reality, and we saw it over the weekend here in South Africa with that actress that suddenly died in her sleep. We are hearing more and more things like that, but the mainstream media does not investigate what is the real reasons. We are being spoon-fed the bullshit that they want us to digest, and the people are blindly following along. And then there's this, something to think about. Experts puzzled by why Haiti has one of the lowest pestilence death rates in the world, despite administering 0 snake bite. We don't know. Well, they'll find out soon. And then you get to the Donbass. And this is an image that should be extremely disturbing to NATO and the West. More Nazi and pedo hunters are ready. Akamat Chechen Special Forces. New troops ready for deployment in the war zone and beyond. Now guys, if you've been following that war, the Chechens, they played a major role in Mariupol and in the south. And the Ukrainians better buckle up. And then there's this. Ukrainian S-300 rocket fell into the yard in Mykolaiv region. In an attempt to shoot down Russian missiles, the armed forces of Ukraine used old and unmaintained Soviet air defense systems loaded with S-300s. Over the years, these weapons have become dangerous to use because after launch, they fall on the heads of their own civilians. This happened today in Kiev. Now, I have spoken about this in some of my other Skidmarks and Briekmerke. The Ukrainians are shooting their own people, but they're trying to put the blame on the Russians. And then there's this. Latest leaked documents expose how British spies plan to blow up the Kerch Bridge. Now, it's a while, the bridge are almost repaired again, but I am sure the Russians are not done with taking revenge for what was done here. And what really astounds me is that the UK features everywhere prominently. And something to take note of, all those senior Russians, when they have press conferences or making speeches, they, almost every one of them specifically refers to the Anglo-Saxons. And I watched videos of Patrick Lancaster where he was talking to citizens in Crimea. And I was surprised at how many of those ordinary Russian people living there were mentioning the Anglo-Saxons. And If I was a UK citizen, I will be extremely nervous. And then we get to the energy. CNN reports that the White House called the plans of Russia and Saudi Arabia to cut oil production by 1 million barrels per day complete catastrophe and a hostile act. So that's great, especially considering that the United States considered Saudi Arabia a personal barrel of oil. Now the countdown has begun before the US notices the lack of democracy and human rights violations in Saudi Arabia. And this is something that we must take note of, and you can be sure the Americans are going to stir shit in Saudi Arabia. But I think the Arabs are wide awake and well aware of what they're going to try. We're going to see some sports there. Biden's on track to practically empty our strategic oil reserves to get Democrats elected in November. Cancelling the Keystone Pipeline was a history book level screw up. And look at what is happening to the American strategic reserve. I can't understand that the ordinary American citizens is tolerating. This is an interesting map to look at. You can pause the video and take a good look at it, and it gives you a breakdown of the energy production in different countries. Quite enlightening, I think. And then there is this meme. You can look at it, read it, and smile. Come on, man, I need your oil just until November. OPEC is looking the other way. America is back on our knees. That's it. Then there's this from Jacob. The other day in Russia there was an event that no one noticed in the fog of propaganda. The BN800 reactor was brought to the nominal power level with a full load of innovative MOX fuel. Thus it was almost possible to close the nuclear cycle. This means that perpetual nuclear reactors have actually appeared. The fuel is recycled and used as an example of the atom for the benefit of mankind, which today is in particular contrast with the calls for preventative nuclear strikes in the middle of Europe and the joy of blown up bridges with civilians. In short, as people in the know said, the successful testing of such a reactor means almost waste-free nuclear power with access to uranium-238 as opposed to classical uranium-235, which will last for millions of years. If everything is really so, then humanity has decided the technical issues of energy for the foreseeable future, and it happened here in the Urals. Without exaggeration, a breakthrough, which oddly enough, for some reason was not promoted and broadcast through the country. And this is something that we should really promote and let the world know. This is what the Russians have achieved. While the Americans are fueling fires of war all over the world, the Russians are working on bettering the lives of people. This is amazing technology. And I think at this point in time, this is the future. And then we get to this. This is a meme, and it is actually sickening to look at it. Orban. Europe is slowly losing blood. Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban said that the policy of European countries towards Russia was ineffective. According to him, European countries suffer from sanctions. And look at that meme there. Just look at it. And the Americans are big, fat, and happy. And then you get this. This is Gaza. Not Ukraine. Does anybody care? And look at that bombing of that city. And look at how that city has been destroyed. And all fueled and fired by the West. But nobody says a word. They're all focused on Russia. And then this is something that gives me great joy to see it and to think about it. Russia to allow international trade in Bitcoin, crypto for any industry. The Ministry of Finance of the Russian Federation plans to let any industry in the country to accept Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies for international trade without restriction. Guys, I don't think many of us realize the importance of this. This could be the kill shot for the dollar. Take note and make sure you don't forget, because this is a major thing. And then we get to this. Russia ready to help poor nations battle hunger. Russia is eager to help out and overcoming the global food crisis, President Vladimir Putin said in a video message published on the Kremlin's website on Sunday. We fully provide domestic market with basic products that people need. We are successfully resolving the issues of food security, and moreover, we are increasing export opportunities. Putin also said that due to the unprecedented sanctions on the country, agricultural producers face new challenges, but these problems will be overcome once Russia attains technological sovereignty in the agricultural sector. And this is another thing to take note of. And all of this while the West is pumping weapons into Ukraine. And then we get to that green stuff. Hurricane Ian storm damage causing EV batteries to explode. Now look at that, think about it, and smile. Then there is this, it's been around for a while. An electric car battery, 500 tons of ore to refine 25 pounds of lithium, 900 to 1,000 gallons of fuel to move the ore. Lithium is refined by using sulfuric acid. The mine at Thacker Pass requires 75 semi-loads of acid a day. One electric battery for a Tesla requires 25 pounds of lithium, 60 pounds of nickel, 44 pounds of manganese, 30 pounds of cobalt, 200 pounds of copper, 400 pounds of aluminum, steel and plastic. To produce one battery takes tremendous amounts of energy supplied by coal, nuclear or gas-fired power plants. If you believe this is green energy, then we are all in trouble. But the greenies don't listen to that. And then you must take a look at the next image and just shiver. This is a lithium leach field. This is what your electric car batteries are made of. It is so neurotoxic that a bird landing on this stuff dies in minutes. Take a guess what it does to your nervous system. Pat yourself on the back for saving the environment. That is the foolishness of this green shit. And then we've got this one. I just laughed when I saw it. Dear vegans, I killed this cow because it was eating your food. You're welcome. And that is exactly how I feel. And then we get to that what a fuck moment. And this is something that you must look at and just think. Because this is something I can't understand. You see these protests in Europe about, and mostly these greenies, liberals, liptards or snowflakes about some shit idea, like throwing soup on paintings and painting showroom windows and ditching milk in the aisles of the supermarket and cock like that. And everywhere you see it, when these women are protesting, they're ripping off their tops and show their tits. I don't know what the hell is up with that tit swinging. And now look at this thing that we're protesting for PETA, about leather and fur and cock like that. Look at that. She stands there with a broad smile, swinging her tits in the air and allowing the people in the street to photograph her. Is that a protest, or is that some weird fantasy that she's living to walk naked in the streets? These people has gone crazy, totally crazy. In any case, on that sassy note, thank you for your support. Please hit the like and the subscribe and share the thing, and have a nice day.